fatal heart impacts, past painful scars. In fact, I blast tasteful bars and pass. I back up my actions, fact don't ask, grab reactions, jacked attack with every word, then act with class as they hear me snap. I got nothing to lose, cause I fought and felt the bruise. Now I'm not the one confused, call the shots and they produce. I ain't lost, I'm finally loose, pick a new silver excuse. I need the views to boost me to a new abuse of being used. Everybody wants a piece now, y'all can rest in peace now. You're dead to me, so peace out. Remember, you're discreet out. Get ready for defeat now.
Alrighty. Hello everybody. This is Q's show here, and now, before I do begin, I'm going to jump right into this part. And I'm assuming all of you guys are waiting for it to come out. Now, in the last part, Deku got put in the hospital. And surprise, surprise, he met Hisashi Midoriya, his father. Now, this was quite a surprise to Deku. Deku's vision was blurry, and well, he's not going to be up and walking around or even seeing properly for probably about a minute. So, right now, this really isn't the best time. And well, there is actually Deku currently. He's still trying to process those words. He's had a crazy last couple hours. And this guy right here, he's claiming to be his dad. He can't even see his face. You're... That doesn't... You don't... How... Why are you here? What are you talking about? How did you even get here? They called you? Oh, about that. No, That's not important. Listen, I would like to talk to you. Talk to me? You want to talk to me after all this time? You haven't seen me in how long? I've never met you before. I don't know you. I could not even tell if you're telling me a lie or not. Now, Hisashi is very surprised, as you do actually have where he does try to at least sit down and talk to Deku. And Mirako, she does actually see Hisashi. The guy seems very, well, genuine. He's trying to speak to Deku, but at the same time, she can understand where Deku's coming from. From everything she's heard about this man, he's not a good guy. Deku, he hardly ever mentions him. However, the fact that Deku's never seen him, it's kind of heartbreaking to her. And there is actually whenever Deku, after a few minutes, his vision is starting to get better and better, before Deku can at least get the shape of this man's face. Now, Deku, there is actually whenever Inko and even Bakugo and Mitsuki, they do actually come to see him, since Inko received a call and Mitsuki drove them over. Now, it's currently, let's just say, pretty late at night, and whenever Inko, she is going to walk in, and Hisashi is going to actually stand up and turn around, Inko, she doesn't really freeze at seeing him, along with Mitsuki, along with Bakugo just walking in and right past Hisashi. Now, Bakugo does try to ask Deku if he's okay, and Deku, he doesn't really say a word as he's still looking at the blob he sees in his vision. As Deku, he does actually hear, well, Rumi, or Mirako, ask Inko, is this guy is really Hisashi Midoriya? And Inko, she just stare him down, before asking him, what is he doing here? I wish to speak with my son. Your son? You wanted nothing to do with him. You wanted nothing to do with us. So why are you here now? You're after his money, aren't you? What? No, that's not... Of course it's what you're after. Hisashi turning back to Deku. As Deku, he at least does sit up a bit more, talking about how his name's been plastered all over the news, along with even his face. He probably just learned about Deku since that's all the media's really been covering. Advanced prototypes, and there's the way Deku does look. Deku, he does at least have Hasashi's somewhat black hair. However, Deku, he has most of his mother's green hair. Along with that, there's even their facial structure, or the shape of their face. Hasashi found that this guy looked pretty familiar. And then he probably looked into public records. He probably saw Bakugo, and how exactly much he looked like Mitsuki. Whenever he learned Bakugo's last name, and then he learned about Deku's last name, he probably made the correlation. As he does ask Hasashi if that's really how it went. No, this is... Please, you just have to listen to me. Now, there's actually whenever doctors and security, they do actually come over to the hospital room. And they do try to inform everybody here that they do need to keep it down. This is a hospital. And there is actually whenever security, they are actually standing there. And while Hasashi is trying to explain himself, there is actually Deku who does ask the doctors if this man was listed as his emergency contact. Now, the doctor that's standing there, he just does somewhat look at Deku confused. As he does talk about how, yes, he was. And there is actually Inko, who she does ask how that's possible. Listen, I know I'm not the one who should be here, but yeah. Deku, he does ask security to please throw this man out of here, since he's a stranger. Now, Hasashi does look back towards Deku, and he does have a shock on his face. His son really just said that about him. And Hasashi, he is thrown out. As Deku, he does just sit there with his mother and ask her if that was really him. And Inko, she does have a sour expression on her face, as she does at least express to Deku that that really was his father. And there is actually Mirako, who she is sitting across from Inko, and she can see the expression on her face. The expression is of pure rage, and she kind of is surprised and almost terrified at that expression. Is that what she looks like when she's angry? Jesus. Now, you do actually have over the course of the next few days, or let's just say about 2 days later, where Deku, he is released from the hospital, and the doctors, they've given him some advice. Deku, he does need to make sure to get plenty of electrolytes. Along with that, he does need to make sure to eat more food because of what his current diet was. Now, there was also the advice from the doctors about his injury. Be very careful, especially since Deku's still left with some bruises. Now, it was kind of weird explaining it to a doctor. However, whenever Deku went further into detail with it, they kind of understood. Sadly, these incidents, or at least cases like this, are not uncommon. Now, with that being said, we do actually have where Deku, he does leave the hospital. And as he's walking out after getting dressed, he does actually encounter Hisashi, who he was actually waiting there to speak with Deku. Now, as that does happen, Deku, whenever he does walk out of the hospital, he does encounter Hisashi, the man turning and actually going to bring out his hand. Izuku. Now, Deku does turn, he does see that familiar facial structure. You. Yes, it's Hisashi. Listen, I really want to speak to you. Please, it's very important. Okay. I'm not usually very temperamental. I'll let you in on a little secret. Hisashi. My quirk is super intelligence. Now, do you want to know a little bit about me? Since this is the second time we're meeting. Ever since I was a young boy, I've known exactly about you. I've known that you abandoned me. You didn't want anything to do with my mother. I know exactly your type. I know every little thing about you before you can even open your fucking mouth. Now, I know exactly why you're here. You want money, isn't it? Is that it? Is that all you want? You came back because you're out of money and you know your son's rich. Is that it? Come on. You didn't want anything to do with me then, but now that I have money, you do. So, tell me whatever excuse you're going to tell me. Why dear old dad deserves to even be said. Why I should spend time with you. Why I should even give you a cent. Now, people do see Deku talking. Yeah, there is whenever somebody they do go walking up. And they're quite curious to know exactly what's going on. As we do have, let's just say Mr. Yaoyorozu, and some people. Now, Mr. Yaoyorozu, he does come walking up and see Deku screaming at this one man. As Deku, he does shout that he has never been his father and he never will be. The struggles he went through in life shaped him to who he is. He grew up without him and he doesn't need him in his life. So go back to whatever hole he crawled out of. Now, Mr. Yaoyorozu does come walking up. And he does actually see Deku as he's at least got a vein bulging from his head. As the man does start speaking. Mr. Bakugo. Mr. Yaoyorozu, sorry. How much of that did you see? I saw enough. This man here, why are you screaming at him? Now, Hasashi does turn to Mr. Yaoyorozu. You're... Yes, I believe from your reaction you may know who I am. Anyways, who is this man? And why are you yelling at him so angrily? This is not like you. Please retain. This man is my absent father. I'm sorry? This man's never been here in my life. This is the second time I've met him in all my 24 years, almost. And I have a pretty good idea as to why he's here. Ah, I see. Well, I will not say anything further. However, please wrap this up. We have an important meeting to head to. Now, Deku does turn back to Hisashi, as does tell him that he never wants to see him again. Now, Deku does go walking away as Hisashi does try to reach out for Deku, and Deku does just go to swat his arm away as he does continue walking. Now, Hisashi, yeah, he is trying to think. He wanted to sit him down and trying to tell him. However, he kinda can't. Hisashi is trying to get Deku's attention before he does cut down to the business as to why he's here. Izuku, I'm dying. Now, that does actually make Deku stop in his tracks, before he does going to turn back around and look directly at his father. What? That's why I came here. I wanted to apologize. You're gonna die? Yes, I am. I found out I don't have much time left. And I know I had a kid. I felt bad about it for a long time, and I pictured something different. A different reaction, maybe. But I see you'll be okay. I thought maybe we could make up for some lost time. But I guess you don't need me. Now, Hisashi does go to walk away. As Deku, he does try to think very quickly on his feet. as in his mind, so many different gears are turning and spinning fast. This is a lie, isn't it? Could it be a lie? No, it has to be. His father, from what he knows, he's not a good man. He's an asshole. He's a selfish, inconsiderate dude. But at the same time, it's possible, maybe? Could it be? Now, Deku, he does at least, well, bite his lip, as he can't hold his tongue. Now, Deku, he does quickly turn and ask Hisashi how long does he have to be in town for? Hmm? I'm, well, now, Deku, he does walk over to him, as he does go to pull out something and go to write it down, or write something down. As Deku does pull a piece of paper off of a notepad and hand it over to Hisashi. Here, we can talk later. Now, Hisashi does take the piece of paper as Deku does walk over to the limousine and hop inside. As you do actually have for Mr. Yaoyorozu, he's very curious as to what happened. And Deku's professional expression, it doesn't seem that way. Now, Deku, he does leave with Mr. Yaoyorozu and everybody else in the limousine to go somewhere. As the, let's just say, unveiling, or at least project Deku does have to show off, it does go down. And the world, they're actually very surprised by Deku's genius. Now, Deku was supposed to have a good night tonight. Sure, this is a big event for tech and companies to show off their products, but right now, this doesn't feel like that. He feels like he's stuck at a convention, or just a giant room. Now, eventually he does get home later, and he does actually find Miriko, as she's sitting down on the couch, and she's trying to just watch a movie. However, Deku, he does actually see that she's somewhat nervous, as she is actually going to bite on one of her nails, as she's also somewhat moving a finger on her chin. Now, Deku, whenever he does walk through the door, Miriko, she does actually turn and see him. Ask him if he's okay. Yeah, doctors just told me to rest. I I don't I Miriko, I met my father again. The guy from the hotel or hospital? Yeah. He's he's dying. Oh, I'm so sorry. Now, Deku does walk over and sit down, as he's already taken off his jacket and he does go to loosen his tie, before just going to pull it off and just throw it down onto the table. I don't understand. Why? Why did he come to meet me now? He's never loved me. He's never met me. I just, I just don't get it. This wasn't in my plans. Never in my life did I expect to meet my father. A little this. Now, Miriko, she's just looking at Deku. She's seen him angry before, but she's never seen him sad. And, well, she has calmed down relatively much, especially after the incident that caused Deku to be in the hospital. Now, Miriko, she does still somewhat have that feeling. However, it's rapidly lessened since Deku, yeah. Now, with that, Miriko, she does try to comfort Deku, as she doesn't really know the best advice to give him. Now, Miriko, she does at least try to think of something, as she does tell Deku that she'll be right back. Now, this is actually where she does go to stand up and walk into the kitchen. As she does go to grab one of the fancy bottles Deku brought over. This being where she does go to pour a glass and actually go to open up the freezer, going to pull out an ice cube maker. As she does pull it open and go to grab a circular ice cube. Now, Mirako, she is going to set it down in a big glass before going to actually pour something inside. And then going to pour the alcohol. Now, Mirako, she is actually going to spin the ice cube around a bit, as it does just start spinning in the glass, mixing the drink together. And she's going to walk back over as she set a glass down in front of Deku. As she does go to actually bring her hands up and go to grab Deku by one side of his face. As she is actually going to pull him into her and actually try to tell him that it's going to be alright. Now, Deku, he does just sit there kind of, conflicted. He has a father already. Well, Bakugo's dad. That man, he was always there for him. The man taught him how to tie his shoes. He taught him how to throw a ball. The man taught him how to ride a bike. He taught him how to do math whenever he was super young. And, well, the two had their first beer together. It's just, there's so many experiences Deku's had with that guy that he can't help but call him dad. And then there's Hisashi. Sure, biology does have a part to play in that word, but whenever Deku looks at that man, he just sees a stranger. He can't help but feel sad, though. Now, Mirako, she does actually at least do one more thing. As Deku, he is trying to enjoy his drink, she does actually call some people. And Bakugo, he does come over after some time. Now, as Bakugo came over, he actually sit down and talk to Deku. And he did even bring over a friend or two of his from UA. Now, it was kind of surprising. And Bakugo, yeah. After learning exactly what Deku's going through, he kinda didn't feel like making jokes. Sure, he wanted to tease Deku about what happened. But right now, no more jokes. All seriousness, his brother needs help. His brother's going through some shit. And really, it's just, how do you cope with that? The man sitting next to him is smarter. He's not as strong as him, but he's got spirit. Deku is a very determined man, and he goes based off of logic and reason. However, he hasn't been using those two things for a minute. And right now, Deku's playing off of his own emotions. Now, it's very strange for Bakugo to see. He's only seen Deku like this a handful of times. And even then, he could probably only count them on one hand. But currently this, it's hard for him to understand. Now, with that being said, they do at least try to have somewhat of a good day. As Deku, he does talk to his mother about exactly what he's found out. Now, Inko, she doesn't really want to believe it. It's just too convenient. He's back now and he's dying. After Deku's made so much money from a project, it's just, well, she wants to see proof. She's had so much pent up anger towards that man, and she can't just let it all go at once like that. She's had years to try and, well, think about what he did with her and their son. He just tossed both of them aside like nothing. And, well, all of a sudden, now that he's got to pass on. He just wants to try to make up for lost time. Now, Inko, she is thinking. Hisashi wants to die with no regrets. Is that it? He can't just do that. She knows it sounds messed up, but personally, she doesn't believe it's right for him to do that. There are certain things that he has to live with, and abandoning his family should be one of them. Now, with that being said, I hope you guys did enjoy. Have an amazing day. I'll catch you guys in the next part.